Welcome everybody to another live stream repair. Bubble wrap sounds. There we go. As I was saying, welcome to another live stream repair. We've got 2 HomePods today. Cole sent theirs in and they said that it's got some rattly bass going on here. And then afterwards we'll fix up Nada's with no power. So they said that their HomePod here, I think they said that they dropped this and now it rattles. But I don't hear anything. Well, let's get it powered on and see what it sounds like. Oh wow. Yeah, that slaps all right. Wow. Okay. Let's see what we've got going on here. Get our other camera set up here. Let's begin. Hey, what's up, Eddie? Welcome to the stream. You think broken plastic inside? I'll agree with that. It's odd that it doesn't, when I pick it up and shake it around, you don't hear anything wiggling around. But we'll get to the bottom of it. My pod. What do we got in here? What do we got going on? Alright, so I noticed, oh, there we go, that's out, that's good. So, don't actually see anything broken here. We've got a few cracks along the basket in a few places, but nothing's broken loose. So we're gonna replace this basket here because it's, yeah, this has got a few cracks, like the screw hole here is cracked, and no big deal though. Let's tear this down a little further and see if we can't find why this is rattling. The red HomePod just looks, the product red one that I dyed, that thing just looks absolutely nuts. Perfect color. I gotta try, where's the dye more? Here we go. I've got this sapphire blue for synthetics that I want to try next. This is gonna look sweet. I have also got this midnight navy for synthetics. So I'm just trying to get a couple of ooh boy, that screw is bent. Interesting. We'll swap that out for a good one. All the screws are out. Let's get this cable detached. And let's begin the pry. This is where I believe it'll get interesting. Yeah. Yeah, that's broken. Busted. Making some interesting sounds. It's cracked there too. I mean, for being dropped onto concrete, this thing held up like an absolute champ. Wow. It's not giving up. see if we can't pull this off. Wow. There we go. Wow. That didn't even come off in one piece. We still got some basket left on there, lol. And that's broken in a few places, so it's a good thing we've got plenty of these. That did not want to give up. And it's still glued in there. Huh. That screw's a little too bent for me to want to use again. This one as well. We had to really fight this one. And looks like the woofer is a little beat up there. It's like bent. Wow. Well, it's just right here. We could probably bend this back as long as it doesn't mess up our seal. We should be able to reuse this. See. Otherwise, no reason to believe the woofer's bad here, so let's get this out now, because we still have a little bit of that plastic there stuck on. Alright. Doesn't look like anything else was damaged here. I'm checking the shell too to make sure it didn't get cracked anywhere. Looks to be alright. Nothing's cracked inside either. Let's go ahead and get the amplifier out just for good measure here. I've seen drop damage crack the tweeter speakers underneath as well, so we just want to make sure that none of that's broken too. And while we've got the amplifier out, we can go ahead and replace the power diodes so that way they're not worried about it experiencing that common no power issue down the road. Everything else looks good in there. That's good. Very nice. So let's go ahead and do some preventative maintenance here and replace that power diode while we've got it apart. Get the unwieldy tube of flux here and flux up this diode. All right. Too easy. And then since we've got it apart, let's put it up on the bench here and see if we've got any DC offset to correct. So let's just get some test parts on there. All right.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet. For more info, check the Home app.
Cool. So we've got like no offset on here. We've got like 1 millivolt here. It's holding relatively steady. So nothing to worry about for repairs on this board. We just wanted to replace that power diode as we do with every single repair that we get in. That's their power supply. Okay, so let's throw this back together. And we're going to use a new basket, and we're going to try to bend that subwoofer back into place and see if it sounds nice and clean. I'm willing to bet the reason why it sounded bad is actually that big bend in the subwoofer, which probably messed up the seal and allowed air to pass through and makes it sound like crap. Yeah, Apple's recommendation for placing your HomePod is actually close to a wall. I think it was like there's a specific measurement they give. I think it's like 6 to 8 inches or something like that. I'll let you get you guys a little closer in there. It's hard to see me putting all the screws for the amplifier in on camera because my big meaty claws block it. Get that logic cable reconnected to the amplifier. Put the power supply back in. This plastic ring looks good, no cracks or anything in it, so we can reuse that. This one, we'll just take another quick look. Looks good. It's nice and straight too. It's not like all bent or anything. Okay. How can we bend this back? Where's my Leatherman? I have tools for this. I almost need to like lay it flat and hammer it down, but can't do that. I think we're getting somewhere. It's getting close. It's pretty beat up though. So here's what we can do. We can grab one of these spare gaskets here and set that on top, so that way when we grab a hammer here and hammer this flat, we're not pushing against the speaker cone here. So let me run real fast, and well, I think I might have a hammer in my room here. Nope, let me run to the garage and grab a hammer. Okay, we've got our hammer. I can't use a wrench to straighten it out because there's not enough metal to grab onto here before you grab the speaker. And we don't want to bend this metal tab, we want to bend the whole frame here. So this is the way. And the freaking giant magnet on here is catching the hammer. Oh wow. That didn't do half bad. Oh my. Yes. Yes indeed. Hey, I mean, it beats paying the money for a new subwoofer. Well, let's see. A few more whacks and I think we'll be ready to try it. Got things falling all over my desk. Wasn't built for this. Okay. So it's not perfectly straight, but it's way, way better than it was before. Good enough, I think, that we'll be able to create a seal. And the reason why it wasn't able to seal before is this was so bent down that it was lifting the speaker up. It was pushing up against the plastic here, not allowing it to even sit on this gasket. So now that we've got it relatively flattened out, we should be able to drop this in. And my hands got dirty with that hammer because it's, you know, I use that hammer for dirty work, so I need to wash my hands here. Alright. As I was saying, now that I can touch this without getting it disgusting here, the problem appeared to be when the woofer was installed. because of the way that the basket was bent, this part right here was bent down. So it was lifting the speaker up and preventing it from being able to actually seal here. So we've got room here now. So I think this will work. If not, we might have to give it a few more whacks here, but we might be good. Okay, and then we need some good screws here, because a lot of the ones, pretty much all the screws for that subwoofer were bent up. All but one. Yeah, the Apple Store isn't going to smash your HomePod with a hammer. I will. All right. Let's boot this up real fast and just make sure that it doesn't sound like crap still. The Mini is sad, yes. Mr. Brick. Their name is Mr. Brick because they brick themselves. And that's all they do. They just sit there and spin around all day. Sounds wonderful. Perfect, might I say. Excellent. Well, let's finish putting this together now that we know it sounds good. I think we got that rattliness taken care of. By no means a standard repair, but hey, it works, and it works really well. Now let's grab ourselves a replacement top basket here. It's funny, like I said the past few days, like these baskets never need to be replaced, and then now within the past few days suddenly all these folks with all these baskets needing replaced. But I've got quite a few still, so that is not a problem. Yeah, if I learned, if there's anything I learned from being in the military, it's smash it. You know the official, like, field remedy if you're out on the battlefield and you've got, like, your M4 rifle on you and it jams? The acronym for it is called SPORTS. Slap, pull, observe, release, tap, squeeze. And that first part, slap, they literally mean take the butt of your gun and smack it on the ground. It's great. I mean, depending on who you ask, they really mean to karate chop the bolt. I forget what it's called. The bolt, not the bolt receiver. The thing that you grab and pull back. But they said if it doesn't work, smash it. Do I play music to test these after I'm done? It depends. I don't always play music. I try to test all of them before I send them all back. If they're factory reset before they get sent in, then yes, I test them. But if people send in HomePods that are previously configured, then I can either factory reset it, and then when they get it back, they'll have to re-add it to their stuff. Or 99 times out of 100, if it's already set up and I tap and hold the top for the Siri prompt and I crank the volume up, there's enough bass in Siri's voice when she complains about there being no Wi-Fi. There's enough bass to usually hear if things aren't sealed right in that. And it also depends on the repair too. Like if I repaired one that came in for bass issues specifically, or like crackling noises, then those ones I try to run for an hour or so to make sure that they don't still crackle. What I've wanted to do, I don't know if my Yeti Pro microphone is good enough for this, but what I want to do is get a really nice high quality microphone and do a before and after comparison, like with recordings of a sound test of a HomePod that's before and after it's been repaired and taken apart and what have you. Because some people don't believe that taking them apart and putting them back together again, you can still have the same sound out of it. And I disagree, but I don't, nobody really has any proof to say one way or the other, so I would like to get some hard data that proves that the sound is not in fact altered by taking them apart. Yeah, for me the smart features of the HomePod are more just like a cherry on top kind of. I use it when it's convenient, but that's not the primary reason why I use them. I primarily use them for listening to music, and hands down for the price, you can't beat it. But my Sonos speaker. Okay, no. Find a Sonos speaker that has the same specs or better than the HomePod. I'm talking 7 tweeters that are omnidirectional, the subwoofer that fires upwards. It doesn't matter, like okay, fine. Number of speakers, I don't care about. What matters is the quality of the sound that comes out. And they've got that omnidirectional sound freaking nailed on these things. And you got, I think it's like the Sonos 5, which is the big, massive, like, I think it's like this big, yay big. But it's got the front firing subwoofer and tweeters. It's not omnidirectional, it's quite directional. So, I mean, for a speaker that you can just essentially, within reason, put anywhere in your room and it just sounds amazing, Apple does it best. The HomePod did it best. So, for example, for this one specifically, because of the physical damage and bending the subwoofer back, we are going to do some brief sound testing on this one on stream for you guys, so we can be thoroughly sure that this one is all good to go. You want to see the red HomePod? You can see the red HomePod right now. Give me just a sec here. We're going to move this camera to Wi-Fi. All right. Let's go for a walk. Okay. And we're back. So I got the top red by... It was actually really easy. So while I was dyeing the mesh for the HomePod, I just took the top plastic cover and I dunked it in the water for a few seconds and then rinsed it off, dunked it in the dye a few more seconds, rinsed it off, and it came out just like that. It was really easy. It didn't take any more color after the first few layers. It pretty much just stayed that exact same kind of like salmon color. What do you mean what? Alright, let's finish this guy up. It makes sense that they started with black and white because they wanted to see, like, if there would even be demand for more colors. Because if you look at the Mini, they launched the Mini with just black and white too, and everybody was asking for colored versions of those. But because the Mini, was more popular, probably because of the price, and there was more demand for more colors, then of course they went out and made new colors after some time. But I think, honestly, there probably wasn't enough demand for the original HomePod in the first place. So they didn't take too much interest in even thinking about alternative colors. It'll be interesting to see what they launch the new rumored model with, if they start with just black and white on those, or if they come out of the gate with colored options. I would pay more for a bigger HomePod. I would pay big bucks for a big HomePod. And then I'll pay little bucks for a bunch of broken ones. Oh yeah, 100%. I would pay like $450, $500 for like a Max, like a big fat boy, like physically as large as the original Apple Hi-Fi, but still like omnidirectional, just basically like upsized HomePod. I would pay a lot of money for one of those, and then I would go and of course I would go buy a bunch of broken ones to be cheap and fix those up and have a whole collection of them. Honestly, the Mini sounds phenomenal for what it is. Like, you people, I don't know, people seem to forget how small it is and how cheap you can actually get these for. The sound that they produce for just the single speaker they've got is incredible. I've got one on my desk at my office, and it fills the whole area up rather well. Thoroughly impressed, but by no means does it touch the OG HomePod in any way. The OG is just in a whole new league, and it still is. Sounds awesome. Let's get this set up. Yellow. There we go. I should honestly just have a picture of a HomePod on my desk here, so that way I don't have to like, I can just boop and get it to trigger. Okay, well, while that one is setting up, well, yeah, we'll just wait. We're in no rush. I have an iPhone on iOS 11 that can set up a HomePod on OS 15. Actually, I've got an OG HomePod on the Audio OS 16 beta, and I was able to set it up on my iPhone 6s running iOS 11. So I think they're doing a pretty good job making sure that backwards compatibility and forwards compatibility are in good working order. Let's give this a testy-roo, shall we? I'm going to turn my microphone volume way down so you don't get instantly blasted with full volume music here. HomePod, there's a beta for iOS 16. I would not suggest installing beta software on your HomePod because there's no way to restore it. So once you install a beta, you're pretty much stuck with it. What do we want to get copyright struck with today? Kill the cat. Well, if I didn't know better, I'd say that sounds perfect. And, well, I never know better. Now, I noticed that the minus button on here was there was a little bit of like a chunk in there, so it wasn't lighting up evenly, so we need to pull this display off really quick and clean that off. Yep. Teeny tiny little bit of adhesive was covering the minus sign there. It's perfectly safe to unplug your HomePod from power as long as it's not resetting or updating. Outside of those two scenarios, this logic board, this is my test logic board. This is what you see me use every single time we test a HomePod for repairs. And this thing has been improperly disconnected from power so many times, at least a couple hundred times, and it still works perfectly fine. So there's no reason for me to believe that disconnecting the power from your HomePod at any time, unless it's updating or you're factory resetting it, is unsafe at all. It's totally fine. And that's kind of part of the reason why I use my logic board to test all of these repairs. You know, when we've got all the parts on the bench and we're just we've got everything like exposed and we're powering it on before we fully reassemble it. I make it a point to use my logic board for that because, well, if unplugging the power from it does cause issues, I want to know. That needs to be known. But based on my experience, there is no problems with killing that power. And if you think about it too, Apple had to design these so that that would be a safe thing to do in the first place, because there's no way to shut down your HomePod in either way. So they had to build these with at least some of that in mind. Now, why they didn't put a way in for you to recover from it being bricked, I don't know. But let's double check those volume buttons now, and we should be able to move on to our other repair here.
I'm having trouble.
Yep, they look good now. So we'll set this to the side and give it a good factory reset before we send it back to them. And let's go ahead and update our status now. And bring it over Nada's HomePod. Now they say that theirs has no power. So let's find out if that's the case here. Yeah, take care, Eddie. Be safe out there. Alright, so we got 6 watts at the wall. Nothing showing up on our pod here, so classic signs of a shorted diode. Let's crack it open and find out. Easy peasy. Careful. Easy. There we go. Yes, be free. Very satisfying pop out of 2. Click out of 3. Fours binding. back to 1. Just get a peek of the condition of the woofer here. Looks good, feels good, smells good. Yeah, that nice Foxconn smell, you know? Actually, these were made by Compaq, I think? There were 2 manufacturers, Compaq and someone else. If only it was that easy. $1,748K. Of course. Alright, let's give this a second to cool down and we'll test it for power and of course if it has any DC offset. Alright, let's give her the beans. Right on, we've got power. And do we have DC offset?
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet. For more info, check the home app.
Oh, we've got a little. Let's see how much it goes up to. It do keep growing, don't it? How much is it gonna grow to? If it goes past 60, we're replacing those caps. And it's gonna... Yeah. Alright. Let's do it. You want new caps? You'll get new caps. All right. Let's get them swapped out. Come on, you bastards. Alright, fresh caps. Looking good. Okay. Has this board gotten all the attention that it wants? Let's find out. Alright, how much DC do we got? How much DC do we get? That's a little more like it. Yeah, that's a lot better. Significant improvement from the 60, 70 millivolts we saw there earlier. It'll probably take a while to fully settle down, but that is a perfectly acceptable result there, so let's go ahead and throw this pod back together and we'll be all done for the day. Actually, I lied about that. I've got a local who is going to be stopping by later today, and we're going to fix it together. Figure out what's going on with their pod. It doesn't want a factory reset, and it doesn't produce any sound. So probably we've got a busted amplifier in there, but we're going to crack it open for them and see what's going on inside. Alright. Let's get this connected to power and see if we're all fixed up and ready to go. Drum roll, please.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet. For more info, check the Home app.
Very good.
I'm having.
Damn, they have tap to play disabled, so can't get the volume buttons to pop up. We're gonna need to factory reset this and pair it with our setup so we can just check those volume buttons are good. And since we're doing it factory reset and adding it to our setup, we'll go ahead and do some music testing on it. Also considering we did some repairs relevant to the audio performance, we will be doing some sound testing for this as well. But we're not going to do it on stream, obviously copyright reasons, and it takes too long for me to factory reset and add this to my home and get music started on these on stream. So got some other things to take care of before this local drops by for their repairs. So we're going to call this stream good for now. We've got everything.
I'm having trouble.
Oh, there we go. Nice. All right.
There's a problem with.
Yeah, I get that. We're all good to go for now. Hope you all enjoyed this live stream repair. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Check out my website, nixfix.com, if you want to learn any more about HomePod repairs or maybe send yours in for repair. And I'll catch y'all in the next one. Goodbye.